What's up, working people? It's the Working Man Money Mark, sharing my 2 cents, and hopefully it makes sense. How much life has your life coach actually lived? I thought about this because I was thinking about a conversation that I had with someone some years back, and they were talking about their son seeing a life coach. Their son was a teenager at the time, and she mentioned that his life coach was in his late 20s. And I couldn't wrap my mind around that. I said, how is this person in his late 20s going to give your son life advice? Now, understandably so, I mean, if this kid is a teenager and the life coach is in his late 20s, there is some gap there. So there are some things that he could teach him. However, I would I would ask yourself some other questions before you decide to make someone your life coach. Okay. And so I made a list. We're going to go through this real quick. It's 10 things that I would consider before you hire somebody as your life coach. Number one, how long have they been at their career? A lot of people these days, they don't spend that much time at their careers. They stay maybe 2, 3 years, they get the experience, they move on to the next job, usually for higher pay, and that's pretty much um, the way things go these days. I've been in my career over 23 years. I know that that's the exception, but the reason I say this and why it's important is because the length of time that a person has been in their career or industry, especially if you're looking for specialized advice in that industry, is going to be super important in getting good feedback for your career choices. So consider that. Number two, do they own rental property? I'm not talking about if they own their primary residence. I'm talking about, do they own rental property? Having tenants, especially multiple rental properties, if you have five or more, you're going to deal with all kinds of stuff. Not only that, but you're going to deal with tenants. You're going to deal with property managers, most likely. Um, you're going to deal with contractors. You're going to deal with, especially in the beginning stages of getting that rental property, most likely you're going to get financing. So you have to deal with lenders. You have to deal with insurance providers. It goes on and on and on. Okay. And those interactions, the emails, the experiences that you go through, especially when dealing with tenants and property managers, teach you a lot of things. Um, Teach you a lot of things, even down to human psychology, right? So that is a really, really, really important skill. I would actually consider having multiple rental properties almost as um, business experience in general. So that's an important thing to consider. Do they or have they owned a business? This is also very important. If you're looking to start a business from the ground up, um, yes, there are people that have general business advice that can help you um, get that off the ground. However, if you're starting a particular business, let's say as a contractor or something to that effect, you're going to want to reach out and seek people that can help give you specialized advice in that particular field that you're looking at. Okay. And there are a lot of people out there that are well intentioned. Maybe they've read a lot of books or whatever the case may be, but they don't have that experience of business ownership. Now, business ownership, in my opinion, could be a lot of different things, right? I would count rental property investing. If you manage a significant portfolio of rental properties, I would say even more than four properties um, would qualify as that. A side hustle, you could be have like a little mom and pop business, something that you do from home. Anything that you're interacting with customers also qualifies. So keep that in mind. Have they been married or divorced? This is number 4 and 5. This is so critically important. I personally, I would personally hold more weight on the person that has been married and divorced because I find that if you ask for advice for somebody that's been happily married, for 20 plus years, you're only going to get that perspective. You're not going to get the bad side of when it doesn't work out. Okay. Now that could go another way too, right? If you're asking somebody that's been divorced about their experience and their advice, then they may take you down a really dark negative path, and understandably so. I've been married and divorced, so I understand both perspectives. My opinion on that, um, personally speaking, I'm not getting married again. But I would say that if you are considering marriage, at least don't go in blind, guys. Don't do that. At least pay for a consultation with an attorney, get some qualified advice, and just understand what the pitfalls are if it doesn't work out for you, right? Um, just consider that. And as far as the marriage is concerned, I'm not going to deep dive into this topic too much. Maybe a video for a future day, but um, I'm not telling you to do it or not do it. Just understand that it is a legally binding contract, and you want to understand all the nuances and the pitfalls of that before you make that decision. Okay? And understand that most marriages these days, statistically speaking, they end in divorce, right? So that's something to consider. And I would even argue that that remaining 45 to 50%, the vast majority of those people probably are not happy. Um, they're probably just staying with each other for, I don't know, maybe financial reasons or what have you. Okay, that's just my opinion. Don't beat me up. I'm just letting you know my perspective on it. All right. So before you make that decision, consider that. And having a life coach that has been through that experience, in my opinion, is someone that can give qualified family and marriage advice. Do they have kids? Here's another important one, guys. Kids, let me tell you, they add a lot of perspective to your life, especially as a man. Um, I have children. It is, let me tell you, it is the most beautiful thing, and it's also the most challenging thing. Some of the most challenging things I've been through in my life have been dealing with my daughters, and I could tell you that has given me tremendous perspective in my life, and I'd also consider that before you invest in a life coach. Number 7, are they well traveled? Now, I understand that, this is kind of like one of those things like, why does this matter? Um, Truthfully speaking, I think traveling to other countries gives a person perspective also. It teaches you a lot about other cultures. It teaches you to think on your feet. I'm not talking about if you just go somewhere and you just lay on the beach and that's all you do for the whole vacation, right? If that's the type of travel you're doing, I'm not talking about that. Um, I'm talking about going into other countries off the beaten path, experiencing different cultures. Um, yeah, it really changes your life. And that's another important thing to consider. Number 8, relationship coaches. Now, this is specifically for the guys that are getting dating advice, and for the women also. Guys, listen, do not hire a female dating coach. Okay? I'm going to say it again. Men, do not hire a female dating coach. All right? I know this is going to be controversial. There may be some female dating coaches that watch this and have all kinds of things to say. I don't care. My perspective is that, look, let's just face the facts, guys. Most times women don't know what they want anyway. And the things that they're going to tell you, they usually do the exact opposite. Now, I have seen some of the female dating coaches out there. Some of them have good information and good material. I'm not trying to knock all of them. All I'm saying is, guys, if you're going to get advice, and this goes for the ladies too, you're going to get advice, get it from, if you're a man, get it from a man. If you're a woman, get it from a woman. All right? That's your best bet if you're going to hire somebody as a dating coach. Just my thoughts. Number 9, the gym. How in shape are they? Now, I'm not talking about, listen, they don't have to be jacked to Jesus looking like some Greek god. I'm not saying that, all right? But there's something that can be said for someone that puts the time into taking care of themselves, staying on their fitness. My personal philosophy is you start with the body affects the mind affects the soul. That's my perspective. So if you're going to listen to somebody, there's a lot of things that can be said from somebody that's fit. All right. It means that they usually have their house in order. They care enough to take care of themselves. And usually that discipline carries over into the other things in their life. Number 10, and lastly, books. The library is the most underutilized resource right now in the world, in my opinion. Okay. Most people don't read. I don't know what the percentages are, but most people don't. And I think that's tremendously sad. The reason I say this, I've been reading all my life. Um, Now I listen more to audiobooks because I'm so busy. It takes time, for me to just sit down and read a book. So a lot of times I listen to audiobooks while I'm at the gym or I'm in the car or what have you. All right. Books are such an asset to you. Think about this for a minute. That author, in many situations, especially if it's a personal development book, they put their heart and soul into putting that knowledge into a book. A lot of times it's their life's work or their life's work for a certain period of time. You get to you get to have all that knowledge in the space of a few hundred pages. That is so powerful. And then the other thing I would say is if you're going to read a book, read it again, especially if it's a good book. Um, I used to read Think and Grow Rich every single year. I'm overdue, so I'm going to start that soon. But that's a book that's had such a profound impact on me. And guys, get yourself a library card. A lot of these libraries now they have apps and things you can order books from. You can order all kinds of things. So use that, get your knowledge, get your education, keep reinvesting in yourself. And lastly, if you guys want coaching, I do provide coaching. I've mentored several young guys through my union. I've coached people personally, and you can reach me through the description box and set an appointment through Calendly. Enjoy your Friday, guys. Have a great weekend.